What's up, fam? Michael Babbitt from ILIO, and I'm going to show you today a brand new Wavefolding plugin from Delta Sound Labs, aptly named Fold. Tasty. You can see that I am automating the high-pass filter in Fold with a good amount of resonance as the slider indicates. I'm using about 50% hard clip, that's the drive parameter. And here's the magic and central part of Fold. The Fold knob folds the waveform back on itself after reaching a given threshold, progressively adding harmonics and distortion as you increase the value. Super geeky and super cool. And here you see my effects knob is turned up to about 88%, and that's the application of the effect, not the mix, by the way. Now here's a great example of where you can hear the musicality of Fold. I've turned the high-pass filter up a little bit to take out the low end. I'm not using any drive whatsoever, and I've got the Fold knob turned up full. Now you can see I've got a lot of automation happening here, so let's break that down. First, I want to point out that the sound is being fully affected by Fold. Most of the movement is occurring on the crush knob. This is the bit crusher in Fold. You could do some pretty interesting things with the LFOs assigned to each of the values. For example, under the Fold knob, there's an LFO that I am switching on with automation and then switching through the note values. And then you can hear at the tail of that sound that I've automated the low pass frequency knob to cut that off. Yes, I love the sound of this. A little high-pass filter, the drive knob is cranked all the way up, wave folding is enabled just a little bit with the Fold knob, and finally automating the low-pass filter cutoff with the resonance cranked up quite a bit, inspired by analog synth design. Here's yet another great example of using Fold to create motion. I've drawn in my own modulation envelopes to control the high-pass filter for that. And you can see where I've positioned my drive and Fold knobs. I want to take you over to the low-pass filter section. We're modulating the LFO with a sine wave that is synced to MIDI clock. And that's pulsing at eighth notes. And because I'd like some of the sound to pass through unaffected by that LFO, I've adjusted the amount slider underneath accordingly. Here's a quick example of a pitch-dropped sine wave and the massive damage that Fold does to it. That wave folding is just really nasty. It's one way to make your subs sound like a gut punch. Don't you just love how Fold makes it distressed and crunchy but yet warm at the same time? Got a little high-pass filter on this one, some drive, a good amount of Fold, and as you can see, the effects knob is only turned up halfway, so we still have a lot more room if we'd like to add more juice to the cup. With the subtle effects settings, I'm getting that interesting low-pass filter tone. And adding to that is the way I've drawn my automation envelope. So that's a cool effect with Fold right there. It's another great example of how fold can devastate a sound in a good way. Here we've added enough high pass to tame some of that low-end rumble. We got drive and a lot of fold. You can see where my effects knob is set. There's still a lot of bandwidth left if I'd like to increase that effect. It's a great example to show how an already animated sound going into fold can have even more animation going out. In this example, we have 3 lanes of automation, and at the very bottom you can see I've drawn in my own square wave automation, and that is controlling the amount of the LFO that is controlling the low-pass filter cutoff. Allow me to explain. You see, the low-pass filter is pulsing at 16th notes, while my drawn-in square waves are increasing and decreasing the LFO amount to add 8th note variation. And then we have 2 more automation lanes above that, each controlling the crush. One, the bit depth, the other, the amount. As you can see and hear, fold sounds amazing on these quick attack and release types of sounds. Thanks to the wavefolding knob being turned all the way to the max, a little bit of high pass filter, some drive, and then the effects knob's only set at 50%, but this gives it a very crisp, punchy sound. Love it. So much fun. In our final example of fold here, I've got 4 automation lanes. One thing I'd like to point out is that the drive and fold parameters are amplitude dependent. Since they run in series, more drive on the front end causes the fold module to respond with less intensity. Thus, they complement each other very well. In a nutshell, experiment and see what you come up with. After all, that's exactly what I did to bring you these examples. All right, let's look at the automation envelopes now. The top one is controlling the bit crush depth. The second one is controlling the low-pass filter cutoff, so I have control over when the sound ends. The third modulation envelope is quickly engaging the mix on the LFO. That LFO is then modulating the low-pass filter, and the fourth and final modulation envelope is slowing down the speed of the LFO. Fold by Delta Sound Labs is available now at your favorite music retailer and at ilio.com/fold.